A very good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live here in LFS for our first Sunday doubleheader of the season. And we start this afternoon with a trip to Stamford Bridge as Chelsea take on Crystal Palace from 2. Alongside that, we'll keep up to date with the game at the City Ground. It also kicks off at 2 as Nottingham Forest host Brentford. But at 4:30, it is the big one. The headline maker of the weekend. Two old foes, Man United and Arsenal, face off at Old Trafford. That's at 4:30 to round off your Sunday action. That is what way we look this afternoon. As I said, we'll keep you right up to date with what happens in our other 2 o'clock game between Nottingham Forest and Brentford. So don't worry about that. We'll keep you right up to date as and when that happens. Right, let's get the team news from this one here at Stamford Bridge. First, let's start with the home side, Chelsea, after coming off a Club World Championship by winning the competition. Robert Sanchez starts in goal. A back 4 of Reece James. Achiempong makes his Premier League debut at centre-back alongside Trevor Chalobah, and Marco Correa in at left-back. In midfield, Enzo Fernandez alongside Moises Caicedo, with a very attacking front 4 of Cole Palmer in the 10, Pedro Neto on the right, Jamie Gittins, the new signing, on the left, and João Pedro, their new centre-forward, leads the line. On the bench for Chelsea, Jorgensen, Gusto, Fofana, Hato, Esugo, Santos, Estevao, George and Liam Delap. For Crystal Palace, fresh off a Community Shield win last weekend, they want to win in London again this weekend. Dean Henderson starts in goal. A back 4 of Daniel Munoz, Chris Richards, Maxence Lacroix, Mark Guehi and Tariq Mitchell. That's a back 5, apologies. In midfield, Adam Wharton alongside Hughes. And then the front 3 of Ismail Assar, Bere Eza and Jean-Philippe Mateta. On the bench for Palace, Benitez, Klein, Sosa, Cardanes, Lerma, Esse, Deveni, Raksaki and Odsonne Edouard. There's been speculation over whether Mark Guehi and Bere Eze will be at Palace come the end of the window. Well, we'll find out, but they're playing here today at Stamford Bridge in a London derby to kick off their Premier League seasons. Kick-off is next. A very good afternoon. Welcome to LFS for this one here. This afternoon, as I said, our double header of action today. This one, 2 o'clock, will round off about just before 4, and then we'll be right back on before 4:30 for that big game between Man United and Arsenal. A little later on, it is a great day for football in West London. And these two managers know what winning trophies is all about, as of recently. Oliver Glasner, 2 trophies for Palace in a number of months over the summer. The FA Cup in May and the Community Shield in August. He is already a Palace legend and he wants them to start off as best as they can, but they're up against the world champions in Chelsea here this afternoon, who claimed that title after winning the Club World Cup in America almost just over a month ago now, on the 13th of July, and they're back, and their homecoming is as loud as ever inside Stamford Bridge. They're having their little huddle. And before we do get the game underway, as is the case across all 10 Premier League games this weekend, we will remember Diogo Jota and Andre Silva, who sadly passed away over the summer. Really well respected moment's silence there from the crowd inside Stamford Bridge, and of course one of those Chelsea players, a very close teammate of Diogo, Pedro Neto, of course, who starts for Chelsea today. So we're underway at the City Ground. We'll keep you right up to date with that one this afternoon. That is the other 2 o'clock kickoff, so I'll be able to explain to you and keep you up to date with what's happening as I have it on my screen. A second screen here this afternoon. It'll be Chelsea that's getting us underway here at Stamford Bridge for this one, our first of 2 Premier League commentaries this afternoon here in LFS. Chelsea, of course, in their all-blue home strip, and Crystal Palace in their change strip of what they're calling Palace Gold this season, in their gold away strip for Crystal Palace. And of course, these two sides, as I said, know all about winning trophies over the last few months, but it's all about getting 3 points today and coming out on the spoils, the better of the two teams. Here's Cole Palmer with the first opportunity of the afternoon, or his first touch of the afternoon. He works it to the right-hand side here for Chelsea. Now Reece James back to Achiampong, who makes his first start for Chelsea in the Premier League. Josh Achiampong today, 19 years old. Of course, a couple of injuries to the Chelsea backline has him in this afternoon. He played in the Club World Cup, and his first big involvement for Chelsea this season. Did play some games for Chelsea last season, of course, at centre-back, but with those injuries at centre-back, he is thrust into the side. And of course, no Levi Colwill. Of course, he'll be out until at least the start of next year, which is a big blow to Chelsea because of how strong he was last season, and certainly in the Premier League. On the final day, he got that goal that secured Champions League football for Chelsea against Nottingham Forest at the City Ground, and it was a massive goal, a massive moment for him and his teammates and for Chelsea as a whole, and it was a moment to remember really for them. And of course they will certainly be a big miss in this Chelsea squad. But here is the new signing down the left-hand side here, Jimmy Gittins, and he does well to work it out for a corner off Chris Richards. Of course, Jimmy Gittins joined from Borussia Dortmund. Of course, Chelsea stockpiling the wingers, the wide players so far. And they have a new man in Jimmy Gittins on that left-hand side. Of course, Noni Madueke left for Arsenal over the summer as well. Have their first corner of the season, Chelsea. Reece James on this left-hand side. Right-footed. It's near post. It's flicked up and headed away at the back post, and it needed to be, because that might have been just dipping in round the back. I think it was Ismail Assar that got the header. We'll see it again. There's a delivery to the near post. It's flicked on, and then it's the back post. It might have just been sneaking off the inside of the far post here. You see it. It might have just dropped in. And he had to make that header, Ismail Assar, because Dean Henderson was nowhere to be seen. And that's a great header. Now they have another corner, Chelsea. Again, front post. This one cleared away. Back to the player who took the corner in Pedro Neto. Who beats past his man, gets the ball into the box, and it's put behind again for another corner. And again, this time by Tyreek Mitchell. Chelsea starting positively. A couple of successive corners. Palace under a bit of early pressure here. Pedro Neto to take this corner once more. Right hand side. Height in there. Achiampong and Chalobah. Left footed delivery from post. Flicked on by Cucurella. Again, there's a player went down. Enzo Fernandez, I think, went down in there, but the referee says no foul. And Crystal Palace want to break away. That long forward pass was well cut out by Trevor Chalobah. And the battle there down the side. Hughes picks up the loose ball. Can't get very far as he's well challenged, but Crystal Palace have it back well in the middle. Eze now out wide to Mitchell. Back to Iberi Eze. It's a good battle in that midfield there for a moment or two. Both midfields strong and physical. I'm going to go for the long range, or that's really poor. We see this Enzo Fernandez moment with Ismail Assar at the back post again. He feels he's fouled. I mean, there's nothing really in that at all. Right, we have a goal, we believe, at the City ground. I believe. I'll wait until it comes up on my screen, but I do believe there is a goal at the City ground. I've just been informed, and there's a stoppage here in this game, a clash of heads between a Palace player and Chris Richards and one of the Chelsea players. Meanwhile, while I'm looking at this, we're a little bit behind on this screen. About 4 minutes, 40 odd seconds. It's a corner to Nottingham Forest, left-hand side. Right-footed delivery, it's lofted high. It's headed on, brought down. Chris Wood finds the net, and it is 1-0 to Nottingham Forest in that one at the City ground. Chris Wood, who scored so many goals for Nottingham Forest last season, well, he's already off the mark inside 5 minutes at the City ground. It's from a corner, it's lofted in the air, he heads it down. They don't deal with it well enough, Brentford, in trying to react quick enough. And then he gets it, takes it on the half volley, and just lobs it into the far corner. No chance for Caoimhan Ferris, the Brentford keeper, who's making his debut in the Premier League for the club today. And it is already Nottingham Forest 1, Brentford 0 at the City grounds. And we'll keep you right up to date with that one. And this will be a common theme across the season when we're doing a Sunday 2 o'clock game. We will have all the updates from all of those games. We'll be able to tell you right away about them more in depth, more in control, and certainly more detail than ever before. And certainly one for you to enjoy. Well, my pre-match predictions on all of these. I predicted Nottingham Forest to win 1-0 against Brentford. Let's hope they have a quiet last 85 minutes if that's going to become the case. But I did predict a win here, as we're back on the way here at Stamford Bridge, by the way. I predicted before the game Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 1. I think it's going to be a close game between these two. I think these two teams will be very competitive. Both will have good attacking talent, but I think Chelsea will edge it. Home opening day, new players, new signings, kind of that feel-good factor of being world champions. I think Chelsea will just nick it, but again, I don't think Crystal Palace will be an easy opponent by any stretch of the imagination. I think a lot of people might sleep on Crystal Palace this year, but winning the FA Cup, winning the Community Shield, it's given them that mentality of, well, we've beaten Man City in the cup final, we've beaten Liverpool in the Community Shield. It's given them that ambition of, well, who can't we beat in this moment in time? It's that invincibility kind of feel with Crystal Palace, and I think a lot of people will sleep on them this year because I think they will perform well. I think they'll be a very good top level side, and certainly top half competitive. Certainly, there's an issue here for a Palace player. I can't quite see his number. I think it might be Ismaila Sarr. It is. He's going to get back to his feet. He was in a little bit of pain there, and the referee, Darren England, had to just check up on the Palace player. He is okay. Ismaila Sarr, what a player he is. Very good player. We have a free kick here, Crystal Palace on the left side. It's not too deep into the Chelsea half, but it is in the Chelsea half. Eze and Wharton are over it. A decent opportunity from a set piece here for Palace. Wharton leaves it. It's a Bere. Eze will deliver, right-footed. Up in the air, it's flicked on into the box, and Chris Richards with a good header of an opportunity, and it's well caught by Robert Sanchez, but that was a good moment for Crystal Palace. It was a little bit awkward from Chelsea on the near post. The front man getting the first header to it, actually heads it back into his own box for the Chelsea defence, makes it difficult for them, and then Chris Richards sneaks round the back, gets a header on goal, and Robert Sanchez has to make a good catch. That wasn't the most convincing from Chelsea, defending that set piece. They want to turn their possession into attack now to Chelsea. Nice work down the right side. Lovely link up with João Pedro. Ball lofted in. It's far too high on that side from Enzo Fernandez. He put far too much height behind that one, and it goes out the far side for a Crystal Palace throw. Shay says, big up. Thank you very much indeed, Shay. Shay says, my score prediction for today, Forest 3-0, the Bees. Chelsea 1, Palace 5, and Man United 2, Arsenal 4. Well, I'm guessing you're an Arsenal fan because it's in your name, and I'm guessing you don't want Chelsea to win, clearly, because you're rivals. But 5-1 to Palace? That's crazy. Not even the most optimistic Crystal Palace fans think it's going to be 5-1. But I do take your point. Palace, as I said, will be a close game. I do think they can compete. Whether they'll win or not is another question, but who's to say why not? They're in a good run. Chelsea, of course. The question for Chelsea this season is about consistency, as they've given it away cheaply there from their own passing back line. As Ismaila Sarr, out wide it goes. Munoz with a cross, that's so threatening. Oh, I couldn't quite find anybody as Eza does pick it up on the edge of the box. Lovely little jink. Eza working between the lines, comes to Hughes. Gets it into the box, they're still alive here somehow. And it's going to be pulled back. The advantage was played initially, as the attack was still going. And there was no advantage, says Darren England, and therefore it's pulled back for a foul on Will Hughes on the edge of the box. Chelsea a bit all over the place there, really. See this again. Eza does really well. Lays it off to Hughes. Kukurea comes clattering out. I don't know where he thinks he's going. He takes a nudge and then takes a bite out of Will Hughes in a sense with that right foot. Swipes at him. Takes him out and the attack continues. The referee plays advantage and then pulls it back, as there was no advantage from Palace. And a free kick right about the edge of the box, right inside the D. Well, Crystal Palace are the best team from set pieces in the Premier League last season. Most goals and most goals from set pieces and corners in the Premier League last season. 17 goals from set pieces, the joint most of any Premier League side in the 24-25 season. So they're certainly a threat. This is a close one. Right, 20 yards out. Fairly central. It's a difficult one to get the angle right, to get the up and down and over the wall and then down to get it into the net. It's a tricky one. But Eza is the one that I think is going to take this. He's looking very intently at Eza as he makes his steps back. Eza 20 yards out, set a little bit to the left. Crystal Palace here with a free kick right on the edge of the box. Eza! Oh wow! What a goal! What a goal from Eza! The wall was completely ineffective. The keeper was completely ineffective. And Eza, who's been linked with a move across London. Well, he's in South London and he's scored a goal in West London. Crystal Palace take the lead. And Eza, the Palace star, is the star of the show again. I mean, the wall was completely ineffective. It was a beautiful free kick. But it's really poor from Chelsea. We'll see this again. It's a fabulous, fabulous free kick. The keeper should do better. It's his side. See this again. Takes the shot. It's a bullet. It's a knuckleball strike. And the keeper, Robert Sanchez, I mean, turn up his opacity, because he wasn't there. He disappeared. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 1. And that is a bizarre, bizarre moment. Although, I don't want to say this. I certainly don't want to say this, but are they checking for offside or foul? Where's the foul? They're checking VAR for a possible foul. Well, they're checking that if Mark Guehi fouled Moises Caicedo and stop. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Just play on. That's really terrible. I mean, if they disallow this, that's really weak. I mean, Mark Guehi has the right to do that. He's the right to try and manoeuvre space to allow his free kick taker, as long as it's not in the wall. He's going to announce it here, Darren England, the decision. I think he's going to disallow this. So it's a disallowed goal and an indirect free kick. That is crazy. According to what Darren England has said here, Mark Gauhu pushes Moises Caicedo, affecting the wall, and therefore a foul. I think that's completely ridiculous, because Mark Gauhu has the right to do whatever he thinks is possible to give his free kick taker the advantage, but he doesn't actually go near the wall. The strike doesn't go anywhere near the wall, so the wall is ineffective no matter what happens. I think that's really, really harsh. I think that's really harsh. So 0-0. And that's really annoyed me, actually, because why? I mean, all this crap that they put out pre-season of, yeah, we want to give the benefit to the attacking team. Well, there's an example of doing the exact opposite. I mean, if you really want to be critical, Moises Caicedo should do better and push Mark Gauhu back. I mean, he just lets him. I mean, I never even knew that was a thing. I never even knew that was a rule or a thing. What? I mean, they did say they're going to be more strict on set pieces and infringements, but I don't even know what that is. I know you can't impede a wall, but he didn't impede the wall. It was the other, that little two of each team, that little mini collection of players to the far right side. The wall was unaffected. That's what I find bizarre about that decision. I just think it's harsh. I mean, it's just a great goal. I mean, the keeper, terrible anyway. He's got I gotta say, the luckiest player on that pitch is Robert Sanchez, because he got himself out of trouble. The referee got him out of that, because that would have been clipped up for weeks to come. And it's the point that we've been making all summer. Point I made, certainly in my predictions. Chelsea need a better goalkeeper. Robert Sanchez basically handled that into his own net there, really. It was terrible. He was non-existent in trying to defend that and stop it. But it's disappointing for Crystal Palace, because I think that was a pretty good free kick. I don't think there was an issue, in my opinion. They've won it back here. Mateta, a little bit wayward towards Eze, and no one will be able to chase that. Sees it out for a Chelsea throw. It's not that I'm anti-Chelsea in any way whatsoever. I want a good game. But, I mean, it's just harsh. I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. But as we know now, with VAR in the Premier League, there's a first time for absolutely anything. The only good positive out of it is at least the referee explained this decision. Doesn't mean that I agree with it, but he at least explained it. And now we know why it was disallowed and the full extent of the situation. The communication certainly helps that, but again, I don't agree with the decision whatsoever. And especially as well, I get, if the referee hasn't spotted it on field, that it's a foul, it's a clear foul, surely then it can't be that bad. Well, that's a lovely little through ball. Mateta! Good save by Sanchez. That's lovely from Palace there all of a sudden. I'll get back to the game. I'll stop talking about the VAR decision. Cucurella does well to win the throw down the left side there. But that was good from Mateta. We'll see this again from Palace. Very central. Nice little turn by Adam Wharton. Lovely little combination. And then he threads this one through beautifully. Mateta hanging off the back of, I think, Caoimhan there. Lovely little 1-2 combinations. Very vertical football. And then they force it through. Find Mateta, who gets off Caoimhan. Has a good shot. Good save by Sanchez. But that was more of a threat from Palace. Chelsea looked a little bit open on that moment. Seemed a little bit easy to carve their way through the Chelsea midfield and then the Chelsea defence. Cucurella, a little bit further inside, finds Jamie Gittins. And trying to enter the box. He does keep a hold of the ball, Jamie Gittins. Palmer. Right, Caicedo. To Chalobah. at Chiampong now. Reece James. Enzo Fernandez on the right side. Back to Reece James again. There's the Chelsea captain. Right back. Chalobah. At Chiampong now to Reece James. Under pressure. Goes back to Robert Sanchez as Palace try and close down the passing lanes. 20 minutes gone, 0-0. Mind blown says a VAR brought in the big gun to help the big guns. Gary says Chelsea transfers include a ref. Mind blown says that is a joke. I'm not even a Palace fan, and that is the worst decision you will see all season. Well, I gotta say the first game on the first night inside 13 minutes was the worst decision all season of a deliberate handball not being given. But we'll not go there. But yeah, it's not. I just don't agree with it. I just think it's silly to disallow something like that. I mean, it's a contact sport at the end of the day. João Pedro, now Jamie Gittins. Cuts it back to Cole Palmer, edge of the box, gets a shot at goal! And it was always flying over the top there from Cole Palmer, but he got a slight glimpse and it decided to have a go. And that's what made Cole Palmer so good last season, was that he wasn't second-guessing himself. He was instinctive with it. As we see the free kick again. I mean, it's terrible goalkeeping. It's terrible from the Chelsea wall. That is not a wall. Are you having a laugh? Oh, I gotta see this. I gotta tell you about this. So we've heard it's not for the push. It's for the fact that Mark Gurry is within a metre of the wall, and therefore that's against the rules, so therefore affecting the wall, and that's why it was ruled out. On a technicality rather than actually anything that happened. What? It gets even more bizarre. The wall wasn't in play. I don't know. Wrap it up. I mean, fair enough. The referee has to follow the rules, and it's the rules' fault rather than anything else. But like, I mean, a bit of common sense. The ball was never being struck towards the wall, so the wall wasn't going to make a difference no matter what happened. Nonetheless, yeah, we're benefiting the attacking team, though. Moving on, 0-0. I'm starting to get a bit more annoyed. I need to relax. SUFC's fan says, hi, great to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining us. Ryan says, I don't agree with that as a Chelsea fan. What the hell? The Brit of theme park mapping. Interesting. Hi, I'm new. Do you do YouTube shorts? Because I want to shout out. We do YouTube shorts, yeah. We only do our goal reactions. We clip up goal reactions. So I certainly would have been clipping up a YouTube short for that Crystal Palace free kick, but not anymore. Chelsea had a corner there, by the way, and it was with a lot of physicality in there. And I don't know whether it did come off a Crystal Palace player last. It might have been Lacroix, but they've actually given a goal kick to Crystal Palace there. The officials, so it might have come off a Chelsea player on that occasion. Long kick by Dean Henderson. Nice little drop of the shoulder there by Eza, but a good recovery in the end by Chalobah, who was brought down in a real collision there. As actually the free kick's gone the way of Crystal Palace. Reece James involved. And you see that again. Ismail Assar getting his header, moving the ball forward, and then Reece James, yeah, he fouls him. Comes through the back of Ismail Assar there. That's a foul. He's actually going to get a yellow card, Reece James, for that. First booking of the game. Goes the way of the Chelsea captain. Still 1-0 at the City Ground, by the way, between Nottingham Forest and Brentford. Chris Wood's goal inside 5 minutes has them leading by a goal to 0. We have a little issue in the far left corner with our scores. They're mixed up, so there's a little issue there. But we do have that one on your screen. Forest leading by a goal to 0 against Brentford. Free kick here to Palace. Far left side. Similar to the one from a little earlier. Wharton leaves. Eza's going to take it into space now. He's going to have a shot. And it's straight down the throat of Robert Sanchez. It was worth a go. But it was comfortably dealt with by the Chelsea keeper. Pedro Neto gets past Hughes here. And Good covering there. Puts it behind for the Chelsea corner. I mean, it looked like Hughes was a little bit passive there. He knew Pedro Neto was coming and he just couldn't stop it. See this again. Pedro's got some pace. Hughes thinks he's got it covered. Then he has to put on the afterburners, but he's too late. Pedro Neto's already got past him. And then the cover there from the other Palace defender puts it behind for the corner. But Pedro Neto, that pace is unstoppable at the very best of times. Corner here. Reece James to take for Chelsea. Left hand side. 15 minutes, or 25 minutes gone, sorry. 0-0. Right footed delivery. Cleared away at the front post again. Nicely recovered as Caicedo has the go. Cleared away. Falls to Reece James on the left side. He will whip one in. Up and away by Palace again. It's Mateta this time, dropping deeper to help defending. Hughes felt he was fouled, and he's going to get that free kick for a shove by Jimmy Gittins. A free kick to Crystal Palace, which the home fans are not particularly enamoured with. It looked a little bit soft for me, but free kick was given. That man says Chelsea's trash defence being protected. They're looking at bringing in VAR for corners and goal kicks. Well, I mean, I don't know about that. But then sometimes you go, there's some blatant decisions you think, oh, that's terrible. But we don't want every aspect of the game kind of analysed. Sometimes they're going to get it wrong, and that's the way the world is. Can't be perfect. That's what we've realised in the last 5-6 years of VAR. No matter how you try and fix things and make them perfect, at the end of the day, human error will always be an issue, and there's nothing really you can do about that. Let's be honest. It's not the technology's fault. The fact that humans have opinions that sways things. I mean, that's the basis of it. Nice little combination there from Palace. Eza having to come deeper just to keep the possession at the minute. Well, they've competed well, Crystal Palace, so far. They very easily could have had the lead, and Chelsea have had 1 or 2 half chances, mostly from set pieces, but that's where the game has been won and lost at the minute, as Munoz comes crashing in there, trying to win the ball. He's going to get a yellow card for being a little bit too overzealous. And that's the right fullbacks of both teams in the book. Yeah, Marc Cucurella gets the ball first. It's with his head, and Munoz just a little bit over physical and a little bit late. It is a foul and a yellow card, no doubt about that. No malice at all there. It's just they're both going for the ball. He's a bit little late. There's nothing more than that. It's a free kick to Chelsea. By the way, the early afternoon championship game was a battle of two sides who were in the Premier League last year. Ipswich and Southampton at Portman Road. It finished 1-1. Ipswich took the lead. Taylor Howard-Bellis putting into his own net after 4 minutes, but Jay Robinson, after 29 minutes levelled for Southampton, and they both finished with a point apiece. 2 points out of a possible 6 for Ipswich in their first 2 championship games of the season. Southampton 4 out of 6. Here's Reece James. And that was a little bit unforced down that right hand side there from Enzo Fernandez. The ball goes out for a Crystal Palace throw. Man says game week 1 and the season potentially already decisive for Palace because of a disgraceful decision. Well, at this minute in time, Palace have competed well. Yes, they've had the goal disallowed, but at the same time, really there's no real damage done because it's still 0-0, so they can fight back and they can still get themselves into the lead and score the first goal of the game. Although there's pressure here from Chelsea. Well covered and closed down, although Caicedo came charging in late. He wanted a corner, and he is going to get one. Took them a second to figure that one out, the officials. This comes from Jamie Gittins again down that left side. He rolled it through for the inside run of Cucurella. It's dealt with by Pedro, and then it falls for Caicedo, running in late. And it does take a deflection. Corner taken short. Run down the right channel. Whipped into the box and all the way through and out the other end. Picked up by Gittins. Chelsea keep the pressure on. Gittins onto his right foot. Has a go at goal. Oh, deflection takes it round and it falls for Chalobah and he lofts it over the bar. But they're claiming for another corner here, Chelsea, but I don't know if there is a deflection. See it again. Jamie Gittins cuts inside. It comes through, all the way through. It deflects. It comes off the Palace defender. Falls for Chalobah. And then his shot goes well over the bar. That's a goal kick. Nah, it doesn't touch Gahey whatsoever there. That's a goal kick. A little bit more dangerous from Chelsea in the last few minutes there. That's a late challenge there for Crystal Palace. They've got the ball back there with Ismaila Sarr. Back to Richards now. Mo Hughes. Now Iberia has a nice work into Hughes again with space. Finding Ismaila Sarr fairly central. Sarr looking for options. He's got Chelsea players in front of him. Hughes to the left. Hughes with a cross. Cleared away again by Achiampong. As Wharton does well down the left channel, and he is muscled off the ball fairly, says the referee, by Reece James. And now Chelsea want to move. It's a bit end to end at the moment. Very open game of football. And that's a non-foul. That's Enzo Fernandez again wanting to get a foul. Very physical game. The referee's letting a lot go, which I like to see. You don't like to see too many fouls and too many stoppages, and especially, albeit it's not one of the most high-profile derbies, it's still a London derby. Two very good sides, two very competitive sides, two very capable sides. I think the referee's doing the right thing and just letting things flow at the minute. And ensuring that he's not blowing that whistle too many times for unnecessary situations. That's a lovely long ball to Mateta, who jinks off his man and rolls it down the right-hand side here for Daniel Munoz, who's charging forward. But what a challenge by Josh Achiampong. And again from Achiampong. Wonderful hardy challenges. And it gets Chelsea out of trouble. When Mateta played that ball down the right to Munoz, you think it was going to be another good Palace chance. But Achiampong comes out of nowhere, slide tackles Munoz. Fabulous challenge, and then charges to the ball to win it before Mateta can get there. And that gets Jean-Philippe Mateta a yellow card for his late challenge on Josh Achiampong. And a free kick to Chelsea. That's a wonderful, wonderful bit of defending. Jean-Philippe Mateta goes into the book. It's Gittins again. A lot of the Chelsea play has come down that left-hand side with Jamie Gittins. Very highly targeted in this first half. Is the new man for Chelsea. As I said, Jamie Gittins, 21 years old. Englishman, joined from Borussia Dortmund. Came through the Borussia Dortmund youth setup. He moved, obviously, when he was much younger. In 2022, he moved to Dortmund. I actually moved into the Dortmund senior team from the under-19s in July of 2022. He's actually, his birthday was just last week, so he turned 21 just last week. He's the same age as me. I'm a little bit older. But Jamie Gittins made that move from Chelsea for over £55 million this summer. So it's a big money move. Chelsea certainly believe in what he's capable of. That's why he's here. Enzo Maresca certainly believes in what he can produce for the club. Pedro not given much space. Palace again close it down in the midfield as Wharton tries to stretch for one, loses out. To his opposite number now is João Pedro, who's bundled over but fairly. Oh, initially the referee wasn't giving it. And it's going to be a free kick to Chelsea. Initially the referee thought was going to let the game play on, but he was just kind of shoved by Lacroix. It is a foul. Nothing more than a foul, but it is a foul. And Oliver Glasner having a chat with the fourth official. Maybe not too happy with some of the decisions, but that one wasn't one to be unhappy about. It was a foul, and that's the long and short of it. And let's see what Chelsea can do from a set piece here. Reece James leaves it. It's Neto to lift it with his left foot. Up and away at the near post by Palace, and thumped away by Eza over the top. And it's recovered by Chelsea once again, but a nice idea. A good bit of defending from Palace there. That's a lovely ball to Cucurella. A nice inside run from Neto, who was pounced upon by Lacroix. That's cleared away pretty comfortably again. You've got to say, every time Chelsea get into the box, Palace are very aggressive. And right on the top of their players. They're given absolutely no time or space in and around the box. And credit to Palace. Very dynamic players as Palmer in a tight space gives the ball away. Tries to win it back, but instead commits a foul. And that's going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace. Not seen very much of Cole Palmer so far. So that ball over the top is easily guided by Reece James back to his keeper. Well, Chelsea are unbeaten in the last 15 Premier League games against Crystal Palace. 113, drawn 2. The longest active run against any of the other 19 sides involved in this season's Premier League. So they certainly love a day out against Crystal Palace to Chelsea. And Crystal Palace's last victory at Stamford Bridge came in the Premier League came in April 2017 when Sam Allardyce was the manager. They won 2-1 that day. Since then, they failed to win on any of their last 8 trips in league action, losing 7 of those matches and drawing 1. And that draw did come early last season, on the 1st of September 2024. They drew 1 each here at the Bridge, and actually drew 1 each at Sellers Park as well in January of this year. So nothing could separate them last season in their meetings, and so far after 37 minutes here at Stamford Bridge, nothing could separate them once again. Well, we did inform you we'd keep you right up to date with the Championship this season. We have another Championship game coming up a little later this afternoon, a 3 o'clock kickoff at the MKM Stadium. Hull City take on Oxford United, and we'll keep you up to date with the score from that one throughout the afternoon. As Eza tried to step inside Reece James and was caught again by the Chelsea captain. He has to watch himself here. He's given away a couple of silly fouls. He's on a yellow card. Doesn't want to get himself an early season dismissal. We saw his England teammate Ezri Konsa dismissed with a straight red card at Villa Park yesterday. Reece James doesn't want to follow that of his teammate, and as it does really well, he nutmegs Reece James, tries to step on the inside of him, and Reece James wasn't letting that happen. Just kind of caught him a little late there. It is a foul and nothing more. But as I say, there's only going to be a handful of those the referee is going to let go without another card coming out of his pocket. So a free kick to Palace, left-hand side. 6.5 minutes or so to go with the first 45 here at Stamford Bridge. There's it over it again. He whips it into the box, and there was bodies in there, but the closest, I think it was Maxence Lacroix, couldn't get any contact on it whatsoever. See it again. Is he onside? They might just all be off there, slightly leaning off, and it's a throw of a foot at it by the Palace defender. Maxence Lacroix, but he can't get his toe to it. It's just a yard ahead of him. I think he might have been offside anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. Oh, a loose header there from Lacroix. Bit of space for Cole Palmer to manoeuvre into. Out to the right side it comes. Enzo Fernandez cuts it back to Reece James. Now inside to Fernandez. Rolls it in behind for João Pedro. Pedro at the byline. Cuts it back. Out wide to Neto. Inside to James. James goes for the cross. Whipped in. The header cleared away by Munoz at the back post. That's Chiempong Recycles. Good from Chelsea. They would take it if they could snatch a lead before half-time. Well, they've given it away cheaply there. Munoz intercepting. Mateta using his physicality to hold the ball up, and Hughes sends it flying down the left channel. One for Eza to chase against Reece James. He's under pressure at the minute, but calm control from Reece James, deals with it, and his keeper sends it flying up the field to put Palace under pressure now. Nicely dealt with by Mitchell. Again, couldn't keep it there, Crystal Palace, as they knocked it forward. And now Cucurella has possession. Very open. Neither side have really kept the ball for longer spells, although Chelsea have had more possession. It's very intermittent between the two sides. It's you have a go, I have a go, you have a go, we have a go, so kind of idea at the minute. Reece James. Neto. Trying to manoeuvre between tight spaces, but he's run into trouble. Mitchell and Eza. Neto does well just to get a toe in there. And gets it back to Reece James. Still 1-0 at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 1, Brentford 0. In that one, Chris Wood's goal after 5 minutes has Nottingham Forest ahead against the new Brentford boss, Keith Andrews, who took over from Thomas Frank after he departed to Tottenham. And it's certainly not, the damage hasn't been further done, but it came from a second phase of a set piece. Nottingham Forest lead by a goal to 0. Wanted a foul there, Chelsea. They're not going to get it. Mitchell works it inside to Sarr. Sarr playing the 10 role, it seems. Kind of just in behind Mateta, very central. Usually Ismaila Sarr is tearing it down either wing, tearing it against fullbacks, but he's very kind of inside, in the centre of the field, trying to penetrate Chelsea in this first half, and on that occasion it didn't quite work out and actually gave away a foul. We believe, I think maybe commentators' curse has struck there, because I said when I was talking about the Nottingham Forest-Brentford game that no further damage had been done to Brentford. Well, I'll eat my words, because it has been done, and Nottingham Forest have doubled their lead, and their new signing, Dan Ndoye, the Swiss international, has got the second goal, and Nottingham Forest extend their lead on Brentford in this first half. I'll see it in a moment, but it is 2-0 to Nottingham Forest. And just as I was talking about that game as well, that comes to haunt Brentford. So it is Nottingham Forest 2, Brentford 0. I will get a replay of it in a second, I believe. I expect to, anyway. Good interception there by Palace. Caicedo plays it back to Chalobah. Chelsea want to try and pose a threat before half-time to try and eke a goal out of this Palace defence. Chalobah switches it out to the far right side for Neto, who struggles and fails to keep it in play. It would be nice if Sky Sports would show us the goal from the City Ground. That would be really nice. I think I can see it here actually myself. You see this again. Gibbs White on the edge of the box for Forest. Nice little turn away from the man, lifts it into the box, and that's a fabulous diving header by Dan Ndoye. Gets off the back of his defender, heads it across to the far left side. Kelleher again has absolutely no chance. That's a wonderful header. 2-0 to Nottingham Forest. After what was a very controversial and interesting summer with Nottingham Forest, trying to figure out what European competition they would play in based on what Palace would be doing, was a very intriguing summer. Of course, Forest finished 7th, secured a Conference League place, but then Palace were relegated to the Conference League, demoted to the Conference League, sorry, and Nottingham Forest were given a free upgrade to the Europa League. And that's where they will be playing their football in Europe this season. Last minute of the first half here at Stamford Bridge, still 0-0. Of course, that now they show the replay. Still 0-0, as I was saying. The VAR decision to rule out Crystal Palace's free kick after, bizarrely, he pushed Moises Caicedo towards the wall and therefore infringing on his own team because he was inside a metre of the wall. It's the most bizarre disallowing of a goal I've seen in probably in a long time, and a rule that I didn't even know really existed. 4 additional minutes will be added on at the end of this half, as that's a deep cross, but far too deep there from the left side from Palace, and Tyreek Mitchell delivering that ball, but put too much on it. Goal kick to Chelsea, but we will 4 added minutes at the end of this first half. A reminder for you, this is our first of 2 live games here on LFS this afternoon. We have a trip to Old Trafford to make a little later, 4:30, as Man United host Arsenal. 2 old foes facing off on the opening weekend of the season. Not often you see that nowadays, but it is great to see that we have a blockbuster of a game at 4:30 this afternoon. Long ball over the top here. One for Pedro to chase. Is he onside? He is. Flag stays down for now. Jimmy Gittins takes a hold of the ball on that left. Works it back across the field. Caicedo caught in possession by Jean-Philippe Mateta. Not many bodies back as Ez is making the run round the back of Reece James here, but it's a little bit much on the ball from Mateta. Allows Sanchez to thump it long and get it away from danger, and Chelsea will win the throw-in there off a Palace touch from Tyreek Mitchell. I've got to say, Chelsea have looked a little bit leggy at times. Some sloppy passes, some sloppy moves, a little bit of kind of tiredness really in the team, which is obviously unusual for the start of the season, but of course they had a very busy summer. Did Chelsea, went all the way and won the Club World Cup. That's a lovely delivery. Richards with a clearance and away by Hughes. Nicely snatched upon by Reece James to get it back into the danger zone, and a shot from Cucurella that sent flying over the bar, and a goal kick. Nice switch ball. Good work from Neto to work it into the box. Good header by Richards to get it away, and then away by Hughes. Wharton tries to reverse it to Eze. Closed out by James. Finds Palmer, then it falls to Cucurella, who has a shot over the bar. In that moment, we have another goal at this City ground to tell you about, and a bit of an opportune goal, but it is another one for their star striker Chris Wood, and it is going from bad to worse for Keith Andrews in his first game as Brentford boss. It is Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 0, and it is Chris Wood again on the double in the first half, and they might just be starting this season as they did last season, Nottingham Forest, after the stark comments from Nuno Espirito Santo saying they're way off where they want to be. Well, I think this team have maybe shown them that maybe they're not as bad as what you think. Nottingham Forest 3 at Brentford 0. And they're coming towards the end of the first half, a half-time whistle that I'm sure Keith Andrews and his players can't wait to hear at the City ground. A real torrid first half of the season. First half of the first game of the season for Brentford. Long throw coming here for Palace on the left-hand side. Chris Richards, last minute of the half here. Long throw into the box. Sanchez came for it, didn't get it. It's an empty net at the minute. As Eze tried to flick it, didn't get it cleanly. It's cleared away. He's going to try again. He doesn't hit it cleanly there, and a scuffed shot on the rebound there from Daniel Munoz is forced wide. See this again. There's a little issue for a Chelsea player. I think it's Caicedo, maybe. Is it? Oh, it's Gehi that was caught, but there was a Chelsea player down as well there in the moment. Sanchez did. I think he punches Mark Gehi in the back of the head. The Chelsea keeper is very lucky there. And there was a VAR check ongoing for possible penalty, but it was checked and cleared. I think he's lucky that the ball was in that vicinity, because if it wasn't, he would be in a little bit of bother there. Half time it is, though. The whistle's gone. And a first half where Palace did find the back of the net from a set piece, but it was ruled out in the most bizarre of ways. Certainly a rule that I didn't know existed, but Certainly the referee did, and the VAR did, and that's what ruled it out. And Crystal Palace thought they'd taken the lead through a Berriez's free kick, but it was disallowed, and that is what's kept us without a goal in the first half. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. We'll be back for analysis of both games when we come back. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this, and Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions, and there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Race again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. And we'll talk about that disallowed goal in a moment, as well as talking about what a first half it has been at the City Ground for Nottingham Forest, who lead Brentford by 3-0 at half-time. Quickly, let's recap what we've already seen at this Premier League weekend so far. The champions got us underway on Friday night. Liverpool back in action. For the first time, of course, after the passing of Diogo Jota, their star striker from last season, of course. But they started with a bang, did Liverpool. Their new centre-forward that was signed, the Frenchman Hugo Ekitike, scored on his Premier League debut for the club, putting them 1-0 up in the first half. It was 2-0 not long into the second half. Cody Gakpo adding his little bit of magic to the score sheet, making it 2. But it was magic from Antoine Semenyo that got Bournemouth back into the game. 2 goals in the space of 7 minutes made it 2-2 before Liverpool in the end did get the victory, but they had to work for it. Federico Chiesa in the 80th minute, followed by a Mo Salah goal in the 94th minute. That meant it was Liverpool to claim all 3 points on Friday nights. Yesterday there were 5 games in play. It started yesterday lunchtime as Aston Villa took on Newcastle. Two sides who were running very close last season in the battle for Champions League. Newcastle just pipped it on the final day by goal difference, but there wasn't a goal between them yesterday at Villa Park. There was a red card for Ezri Konsa. That was the only real drama of the game, and it finished goalless between the two sides. But a point apiece, and certainly a better point for Aston Villa after being down to 10 men for so long of that second half. It was a point apiece at the Amex as well in the 3 o'clock kickoffs, as Brighton, who thought they were going to claim 3 points out of Fabian Hurtzler on opening day of the season, but it wasn't to be. Matt O'Reilly's penalty was ruled out, or well, equalled basically, when Rodrigo Muniz scored in the 96th minute to level Fulham and to rescue a point for Marco Silva's side. It was a fantastic return to the Premier League after 8 years for Sunderland as they thrashed West Ham at the Stadium of Light by 3-0. Eliza Mayenda, who scored in both the playoff semi-finals and in the playoff final, got the first goal of the Premier League era for the new look Sunderland under Regis Labrise. It was 2 not long after when Dan Ballard added his header into the back of the net before it was 3 in additional time when Wilson Isidore found the net as well. A thumping victory for Sunderland, but a dismal start to the season for West Ham and Jared Bowen, who say they need to be better. Well, that's quite clear. Tottenham 3-0 winners against Burnley. An easy start to the Premier League era for Thomas Frank as Spurs manager. After that defeat in the Super Cup in midweek, they bounced back with a home game in North London and come out with a 3-0 win. In that one, 2 goals from Richarlison, the second of which you have to watch, by the way. You have to. It's an incredible goal for the second one for Spurs yesterday, and then 3-0 was made by Brennan Johnson. Burnley, not a great return to the Premier League for them, who were so defensively solid in getting up to the Premier League. Only 16 goals conceded last season for Burnley, the best defence surely in English football last season, but they've already conceded 3 goals in one match, so that doesn't bode well. They probably could beat that 16 goals conceded on average within 5 or 6 matches if they keep conceding 3 per game. Manchester City won up Tottenham and head to the top of the table after their thumping victory over Wolves at Molineux. It was a hardy game from Wolves. They thought they were battling for the game, but as I said yesterday in the commentary, you can't let Man City sneak off the back of you, and that's what Erling Haaland did for 1-0. It was 2-0 when Tiani Reinders found the net beautifully. 3-0 once again, Erling Haaland on the score sheet. Tiani Reinders very much involved in all of those goals. And Ryan Cherky on his Premier League debut for Manchester City made it 4-0 to make it a very comfortable start to the season for Manchester City. Their 9th consecutive season where they've started the campaign away from home. But it doesn't look like it's going to be a problem for them. 14 of the last 15 starts of the season, they've won those games. And this afternoon, so far, that is an incorrect score. It is not 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. It's 3-0 at half-time. We'll talk about that in a moment, as well as Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. Still to come, Man United take on Arsenal, followed by Leeds and Everton on the Monday night. But let's get to this game at Stamford Bridge, and it's 0-0 at the break. But I got to say, a very close matchup. I think Chelsea have looked bright. They've looked strong. They've looked attentive in the final third, but I think Palace's aggression in and around their 18-yard box, they're quick to everything, they're first to everything, they're all over the Chelsea attackers when they get in and around that box. They're giving them no time or space whatsoever. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know how many saves Dean Henderson's made, but it's not many, if at all. 1 save, I believe. No saves for Dean Henderson, because the only shot on target was cleared away by a defender. So Dean Henderson hasn't had to make a save. Chelsea have had just 1 shot on target in that first half. So that's where they're struggling. They're struggling to test the goalkeeper, certainly, in that first half, Chelsea. But they had much more possession, much more shots. But at the end of the day, they haven't found the net and they haven't tested the goalkeeper enough. But that's something to work on. I think defensively look a little bit frail, but with that new centre-back partnership in Chalobah and Achiempong, with injuries now to Levi Colwill and other players, Chelsea might need an extra centre-back just to help them in that area. But they've already recruited a lot, but I wouldn't put it past them to recruit more before at the end of the window. Certainly, but yeah, that could be a little bit of an issue, because I think Jean-Philippe Mateta's looked very strong in getting those long balls, holding the ball up, allowing it to Eze to run wide in the left, Daniel Munoz and that overlapping run that we've seen so often down that right-hand side for Palace. So they have looked very much in the game, and of course the disallowed free kick. Now, we did have an introduction last season, if you remember. Premier League Match Centre was the new introduction for the Premier League, in which decisions were to be explained. Now, I will tell you why the Crystal Palace free kick was disallowed. This is the official statement from the Premier League Match Centre. After VAR review, the referee overturned the original decision of goal to Crystal Palace. The referee announced on the field, after review, away number 6 is less than 1 metre away from the wall as the shot is taken. Therefore, it's an indirect free kick and a disallowed goal. I didn't know that rule existed, but it is a rule. It is a rule in free kicks. The defending team, or the attacking team, cannot be within 1 metre of the wall of the defending team. Therefore, that is impeding the wall, and therefore it has to be disallowed. I never knew that rule existed. It's a clearly valid rule, and it's more the fact that a lack of understanding rather than a terrible decision. That's the rules. That's the law of the game. I didn't know existed. And Mark Guehi wouldn't have been within 1 metre if he didn't push Moises Caicedo out of the way to allow Eberechi to take the shot. I didn't have an issue with that. I didn't think there was anything of a foul in that. It was, of course, the fact that he was in a technicality, basically, disallowed that Palace goal rather than anything else. So that's where we stand at the break at Stamford Bridge. In the other game that kicked off at 2 o'clock, Nottingham Forest against Brentford, 3-0 to Forest at the break. Chris Wood scoring either side of Dan and Doy. 2 of those 3 goals came inside the last couple of minutes of the first half. So maybe Brentford's strength and concentration really wavering a little bit towards the end of that first half. But Chris Wood started really, really well. Dealt with it was a good corner, delivered in. He got the header on it, was kept alive in the box. Brentford didn't do enough to clear it. And then Wood takes it on the half volley and lobs it into the far corner. Again, Caoimhan Ferris, the Brentford keeper, completely unsighted, had no chance really on that one. Then the second goal, it was a good delivery. Morgan Gibbs-White, who stayed at the club, which of course not a lot of Nottingham Forest fans very happy with, of course, stayed at the club. He gets the ball on the edge of the box, manoeuvres around, works a bit of space, whips the ball in for Dan and Doy, who's running round the back. He gets around his defender and he salmon dives onto the ball and heads it looping into the far corner. Again, Kelleher wrong-footed, has no chance. And then 3-0. Chris Wood breaks in behind the defence. The ball's played through. He works, rounds the goalkeeper, and slots it across goal from a narrow angle to make it 3-0. Very, very good first half from Nottingham Forest. And as I said, certainly Nuno Espirito Santo, the Nottingham Forest head coach, was a little bit worried about where his team had been. They'd scored just 1 goal in pre-season, and I think drew 5 of their 7 games, kept a clean sheet in a lot of those games, so they certainly weren't the most entertaining in pre-season Forest, but certainly unleashing the goals in the first half there at the City Ground, and probably more to come, you would expect, based on what their first half performance displayed. And it's 3-0 there at the break. Right, the second half in both of those games at Stamford Bridge and at the City Ground is on the way in just a couple of minutes. Do stay with us. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there! Liverpool are Premier League champions! And there it comes! Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners! Oh, he's found the net! Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a 4th, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half time, it is Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0, and Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 0 in those two 2 o'clock kickoffs. That's easy for me to say. Don't forget, though, our final game of the day and our big blockbuster of the weekend sees Manchester United take on Arsenal. 4:30 from Old Trafford. We'll have team news for you in about 10 minutes' time from that game. Are the 2 new strikers, Benjamin Šeško and Viktor Gyökeres, starting for their 2 new teams? I hope so. I've done a graphic on it for the game. We'll see you for the second half at Stamford Bridge in just a moment. Right, welcome back. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That would be greatly appreciated. And thank you all for joining us this afternoon for this one. As I said, all of the 2 o'clocks. When we're doing a 2 o'clock game on a Sunday, we will have updates from all of the games for you, however many you think there are. We will be able to tell you intricately what has happened when the goals go in, a little better than before when we could probably just guess and figure out what happened afterwards. But certainly a lot more detail. As the players arriving at Old Trafford there, we got a shot of Benjamin Šeško arriving. Of course, if you've seen the TikToks and the social media posts from a lot of the Premier League teams over the last few days of how their players pronounce their names, some of the funniest clips you'll see. There's some crazy ones. It's really great. And Benjamin Šeško is the way you pronounce his name. There's a good couple of them. You're looking going, yeah, that's not how I said that. Christian Norgard is one that I was completely shocked at. No, Norwegian's very tough. Or is it he's Danish, isn't he, actually? Yeah, Danish is tough. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call him Christian Norgard a little later on when he plays. Right, the two sets of players are out onto the field again. I'm waffling a little bit there. We're waiting for the second half to get underway. They're underway again at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 0. Work for Brentford to do. And work for both of these two teams to do as we get underway. Chelsea kicking from left to right. Palace from right to left in this second half. Palace kicking towards their away fans in this second half. They're in the far left corner here at Stamford Bridge. And an early throw in for Chelsea down this left-hand side. And you've got to say they'll want to test Dean Henderson more. Dean Henderson, what a fabulous last couple of performances for Crystal Palace he's had as the Palace keeper. Saved a couple of penalties in that shootout against Liverpool in the Community Shield this time last weekend. And of course, made some big saves against Man City in that FA Cup final as well. So Dean Henderson, I think he's in my fantasy team. I haven't put him in my 11, but he's in my 15 for the squad. So certainly one to keep an eye on. I've got two players in this game, Reece James and Abere Eze, in my team for this one. Interesting. Moises Caicedo here to Chalobah. Well, this is just the second time that these two have met on the opening day of a league season. The last time they met was the Blues winning 3-0 at Stamford Bridge on the opening day of the 21-22 season. On that one, that's the only other previous occasion they have met on the opening weekend of the season. And it was boding well for Chelsea on that day, 3-0 victors. Last time Chelsea beat Crystal Palace after they both drew both games last season. They won 3-1 at Sellers Park, did Chelsea, on the last win for them. 3-1 winners on the 12th of February 2024. So it's a year and a half since they beat Crystal Palace. In the grand scheme of things, that's not the longest of gaps, but it is certainly went winless against Palace last season. These two teams have met quite a lot over the last few years, and when Crystal Palace got to an FA Cup semi-final, they faced Chelsea a number of years ago as well. In that one, they have quite a few meetings against each other in the previous few years. Chelsea winning 4 of the last 6 meetings since that FA Cup semi-final. 2 of which at home, 2 of which away. And the last time Crystal Palace beat Chelsea was in 2017 in the Premier League. 2-1 winners at Sellers Park. The goal scorers that day, Cesar Azpilicueta put into his own net for an own goal. And Wilfred Zaha, the old Palace talisman, got a goal as well to make it 2-1. There's going to be a yellow card here for Will Hughes for a foul. See this again. Yeah, he just drags Moises Caicedo back there, Will Hughes. That's a clear as day free kick. And a yellow card as well. Although I think the Chelsea fans and players would have wanted the referee to play the advantage there, but the referee pulled it back for a foul. And switch ball there for Chelsea that doesn't work out. And Chelsea's first Premier League game of last season also came at Stamford Bridge. They played Manchester City and lost 2-0 in that game. Erling Haaland and Mateo Kovacic, their former player Mateo Kovacic, were the two scorers in that day for City. Actually, they didn't win. Their first Premier League home win didn't come till the 20th of September last year for Chelsea, winning 4-2 against Brighton. They lost at home to City on the opening day, or the opening weekend, then drew with Crystal Palace, and then it had to be their third home Premier League game of the season against Brighton for their first victory at the end of September. Long kick forward there towards João Pedro. Nicely dealt with by the Palace defence again. Nice work from Mitchell there in a physical battle. Eze flicks it across to Mateta. Nice little combinations, although Sarr goes a little early on that ball to Eze. Again, they tried to combine, and Sarr was expecting Eze to be on his bike there to make that run through, but not quite on the same page. The Palace wingers. And it comes all the way back to Chelsea. But I gotta say, this one a little bit too close to call. I gotta say, I mean, as I said before the game, it would be a close battle. I predicted a close battle, and I predicted Chelsea would nick it. But I think the way we've seen the game go in this, in the first half, and so far in the second half, both sides are well competitive against each other. Chelsea again trying that ball down the left channel, cut out well by Will Hughes, and now Wharton plays it to Eze, who dummies it, leaves it for the outside runner Mitchell, who gets a cross in early. It's bouncing, it's thumped away by Chalobah, and out for the Crystal Palace throw on the far left side. And it was good work by Palace. They do well there. Eze drags the defender and Reece James in. Eze dummies the ball for the outside runner Mitchell, who's tracked all the way by Neto, but he doesn't really get enough of him. Neto get too close to him, allows him to whip that cross in, and Trevor Chalobah does well in defending that situation to get the ball away at the first time of asking. But a throw in here, Mitchell to Eze, back to Mitchell, who going for the switch ball, but he's undercooked it a little bit, and that's a little bit too much from Gittins. Showed too much of the ball there to Daniel Munoz, who was backtracking, and that's going to be a free kick as he had his arm around Daniel Munoz, and a free kick to Crystal Palace. That other championship game, by the way, kicked off at 3 o'clock. Well, it's been a very high-tempoed start to that one. Hull scored inside 2 minutes. Joe Gellart, the former Leeds player, set up by Ollie McBurney, the former Sheffield United player, opened the scoring for Hull, before Will Lancashire levelled for Oxford United just 7 minutes later on the 9th minute. It's 1-1 after 13 minutes there at the MKM Stadium. Here's Jimmy Gittins off the left-hand side. Back to Marco Correa, back to Gittins. Trying to zip it around a little bit quicker, Chelsea. They were a little bit lethargic at times in that first half when they had possession. Need to up the tempo a little bit more. Here's Pedro Neto. Two players in his vicinity, but leaves space for Reece James. Now back to Caoimhan. Back to his captain. And now fed towards Chalobah. All the Palace players back at the moment, sitting in, soaking up the pressure, trying to stifle Chelsea. Here's Caicedo. Caoimhan, carry it forward, works it back to his captain, and Reece James again. Caoimhan. Palace are everywhere. Every time Chelsea make a pass into space or into a player, they're suffocating it right away, smothering it right away. Palmer drops to the left and lays it out wide for Jimmy Gittins, who just about keeps it in play. Here's Munoz and Sarr on the scene. Cuts it back for Palmer. Palmer going around the left-hand side. He's going to fizz it across. Good save with a left hand there by Dean Henderson. He has to punch it away from danger. And out for the throw-in on the far side. But that was good work. And Chelsea are going to make a change here at the minute, actually. It's going to see Jimmy Gittins coming off. And the new signing, Estevao, is on. I also saw his pronunciation. I couldn't quite figure it out, but I'm going to say Estevao. The Brazilian is on. He actually played against Chelsea in the summer. for Estevao. Played in his final game for Palmeiras against Chelsea and scored against his new team in that final game, and then scored in his first appearance for Chelsea against Leverkusen in a 2-0 victory. But he's on for his first Premier League appearance this afternoon, the 18-year-old. A young talent, a young Brazilian star in the making. 18 years old, born in April 2007. Estevao scored 19 goals and 12 assists in 2024 in Brazil in all competitions. So he's a very promising talent at a very young age, which seems to be Chelsea's remit at the minute for recruiting players. We see this again. Mateta and Caicedo coming to a collision, and Mateta just catching Caicedo. He tried to go for the ball, and he's a little late there, Mateta. He has to be careful himself. He's on a yellow. He has to be very careful. I think the referee and Reece James are having a chat about that, but I think the referee's going to err on the side of accidental rather than anything else, and it's going to be a free kick and nothing more. Dean Henderson has the ball here. I don't think it's actually gonna be a foul. It's not. Dean Henderson's got the ball. So it's not gonna be a foul, it's just gonna be play on, really. Taking his time here, Dean Henderson. Remember the new rule. Keeper's only allowed to hold the ball for 8 seconds. If they surpass that 8 seconds, a corner is awarded to the opposing team. Here is Estevao, already into the action, breaking down the right side. Estevao across. Oh, and the header. It wasn't really great at the back post as it's cleared away by Palace. Further away, and it's going to actually be pulled back as Eza was a little bit late there. And that's got the Chelsea crowd going all of a sudden. Estevao right into the thick of it. Already with his first real involvement in the game. Speeds on the inside, cuts back outside. Maybe a slice of luck in the touch that goes his way, but the energy of the youngster and the cross. Finding the head of Pedro Neto, who just can't direct it anywhere. Basically just trying to keep it to get any sort of contact on it, and then we see Eza trying to clear the ball. He just catches Reece James on the reverse, and that's why it's a free kick to Chelsea. This one a bit to the right hand side of the goal. It's around about 21 yards out. Cole Palmer and Reece James are the two that are surrounding the ball at the minute. 57.5 minutes gone here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0, and it's still Nottingham Forest who lead Brentford by 3-0 at the City Grounds. And our 2 early kickoffs in the Premier League this afternoon on opening weekends. Well, Crystal Palace had a free kick at this end of the field, disallowed in the first half. Well, Chelsea have a free kick at this end, and they've been told where they can't stand. Cucurella can't go any further to his left because the referee's drawn a line. Here's Cole Palmer, hits it right at the wall, and it's sent flying up the field by the Palace defence. There's going to be a stoppage here. There's a Palace player down. Chris Richards, I think, took a full whack of that, and he's down at the minute. He got a full pelt of the Cole Palmer shot right into the face, and he went down right away, so the referee has to check up on his welfare, a possible head injury, so he's being checked out there. Chris Richards, the Palace centre back. An update from the game at the MKM. It's a very, very, very high scoring start there. Another goal has been scored inside the first 20 minutes. It is another goal, and it is Hull City that have taken the lead once again for the second time this afternoon. Hull are ahead. It is Hull City 2, Oxford United 1, and the scorer in that one, Matt Crooks. So Hull back in front at the MKM. Hull, who drew last week, and Oxford, who were beaten last week, so both looking for their first wins of the campaign after failing to win on the opening weekend. Hull and Oxford. At the minute, Hull have the advantage. So he edged closer to the hour mark here at Stamford Bridge. Will Oliver Glasner think about going to his bench? Seen a couple of options there, you know. Justin Devaney, Yezrin Raksaki, Hudson Edward, all available off the bench. Justin Devaney, who scored that winning penalty against Liverpool in the shootout in the Community Shield last week. A young man from Northern Ireland, 21 years old. Chris Richards should be okay. He's been patched up and sorted out, and he is okay to continue, we believe. So he's on the sideline for the moment. Of course, 30-second rule still applies, so Palace down to 10 for the moment. Whilst Chris Richards has to wait his full 30 seconds. Chalaba. Achiempong, sorry. I read 34 as 24. Achiempong, nice run forward. A little bit heavy, he's just about kept it in that side. Neto, surrounded by two Palace players, works it inside nicely to Chalaba. He will whip the ball in. That was a good cross. And it was headed behind by Tyreek Mitchell. He didn't know what was behind him, Mitchell, and he had to get the header because Esteval was sneaking around the back, whether he would have got to it or not, but Esteval was there, and Mitchell takes evasive action, puts it behind for the corner. This will be Chelsea's 7th corner of the game. Palace are without a corner so far. Neto, the number 7, lifts it into the box, and the header is over the bar by João Pedro. Goal kick. It's a little bit strange. He snuck in there. See this again. There's about 3 or 4 Palace players around him, and Richards is on the field now again, by the way. He just snuck in there. Right, I do believe we have team news from Old Trafford, and what we can tell you is that one of those 2 new strikers that have been signed by the 2 clubs are starting. Victor Gyökeres is in. Benjamin Šeško only making the bench for Man United today. We'll tell you about that in a moment, because Esteval's down the right side. Well challenged by Palace again. Guehi getting himself involved. And Mitchell winning the throw-in. So for Man United, Altay Bayindir starts in goal. They've gone for that back 3, back 5 system. 3-4-3. Yoro, Delict, Shaw as the centre-backs. Dallo and Dorgu as the wing-backs. In midfield, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, with a front 3 of Mason Mount, Brian Mbeumo and Mateus Cunha, who is the centre-forward. For Arsenal, David Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel Calafiori in defence, Zubimendi and Rice in midfield, Odegaard in the 10, Saka off the right, Martinelli off the left, and Victor Gyökeres, the new centre-forward, leads the Arsenal line. As I said, Šeško on the bench for Manchester United amongst a lot of their players, and as well for Arsenal, Noni Madueke, who also joined in the summer. He's on the bench along with Christian Mosquera as well, also a summer addition to the Arsenal squad. We'll have that game in around about an hour's time at 4:30. For now, still 27 minutes of the game here at Stamford Bridge to go. It's Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. And at the City Ground, it's Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 0 still at that moment in time. They're a little bit ahead of us, but by a mere minute or so at the City Ground. So both games in tandem. But if we analyse the stats from this game at the minute, hold on a second, here's Enzo Fernandez in a good bit of space. whips it with his right foot out to the left side somehow. Finds Pedro Neto, who lofts it into the middle. Oh, good defensive header. It's fallen a little bit cutely as the shot by Palmer is directed well away from goal with a block. And out for the throw-in. Again, that was a lovely ball by Enzo Fernandez. Good delivery by Neto. Whipped in, then it's a defensive header. It drops and comes off the back of Tyreek Mitchell's head. It falls for Cole Palmer, who's smothered again. Will Hughes making the block. And it goes out for a Chelsea throw on the right side. But they're getting closer, Chelsea. They're knocking on the door now, at least. Here's Chalobah. He works it out to the left side for Neto again. Clicking sprite since he moved to that left side, Pedro Neto. He was on the right for a lot of the first half. It's Reece James now. He's going to lob it into the middle. Cucurella doubly covered there, and that goes out for a goal kick. But applause from the crowd who see their side trying. And trying with all their might at the minute. As I was saying, look at the stats. 70% of the possession for Chelsea so far at this minute in time. In terms of big chances, Palace have had 2 big chances. Chelsea none, which is crazy. Chelsea have had 14 shots to Palace's 9. One of those shots have been on target from Chelsea, compared to Palace, who have had 2 shots on target. They've many more sprints. Have Chelsea. Their keepers had to make 2 saves as well. And here come Crystal Palace on the move. He was seen off the ball fairly there, the attacker. I think it might have been Ismail Assar. And now Chelsea want to break down the other end. 25 to go. Chelsea on the move down the left. Steps inside, does Neto. Not much room. Works it round the corner. Nice work with Palmer. Palmer down the left side. A bubbling ball falls for Estevao, who gets a heavy touch and then skies it over the bar. The heavy touch took him away from it. If he'd have got a good touch there, Estevao, he would have had a good chance at a shot. The heavy touch let him down. He then was in 2 minds whether to take the shot. He ended up taking it, and leaning back, he fired it over the crossbar. Again, very threatening from Chelsea. The end product just not there on that occasion. And that's been the issue all afternoon really for them. As I said, that's 15 shots now with just 1 shot on target. So Chelsea still not testing Dean Henderson enough in this game. And that's going to be a foul. A shove on Jean-Philippe Mateta, and that's going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace up the field. This game on a knife edge at the minute. This happened yesterday with our league table. I apologise, I don't know why that keeps happening. I do apologise. But you're not missing much, really. The league table isn't majorly important at this point in the season. On the opening weekend, but Man City will stay top as it stands. Obviously, only if a team wins by more than 4 goals. That's a lovely delivery. It's just not snatched upon by anybody in the box there from Palace. In the end, it goes for a goal kick to Chelsea. So a quarter of the game to go. 0-0. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We have 2 more games after this one to bring you across the weekend. Our final 2 games of the Premier League weekend in total. A game at Old Trafford and then Elland Road tomorrow night as well, to round off our opening weekend of 6 Premier League watch-along commentaries for you, to keep you right up to date. We have another goal at the MKM Stadium to tell you about. They're stealing all the goals in the Championship, and it is 2-2. What a very fine battle there. Indeed, it is Cameron Brannigan that has got the second goal for Oxford United. It is 2-2. Wow, and they only after 30 minutes there. They're absolutely flying in that one. Here is Caicedo. Chimpong. Chalobah. Back inside to Moises Caicedo. And Palace making it very compact, very tight, very kind of congested in the middle. And all the spaces really in the wide areas for Chelsea on each wing. Oh, that's a loose ball. That's a very loose ball by Caoimhan, and Eze tried the long ranger there. Luckily, he got the bounce back for himself. It was a poor shot. Here's a chance. Whip ball in from the right side. It's a good delivery. 2 or 3 in there, and Reece James has to make the clearance to put it behind for the corner. That'll be Palace's first corner of the game. Yeah, it was a sloppy ball by Caoimhan. Gave it away. Eze got the ball. He swung it out to the far right side, and then Daniel Munoz with that whip of a right foot whips it in, and there's so much pressure on it. And Reece James wasn't taking any risks. As the Palace are going to make a change here in midfield. Will Hughes has run his course, and Jefferson Lerma is going to come on in his place in the middle of the park. So a straight swap in the Palace midfield. Some fresh legs in there to try and keep Palace ticking over and maybe give them a little bit of a boost in there to keep them performing at the level they have been. So corner, left-hand side, Ebere Eze over it. Bodies in the box. Eze's delivery near post, and it's going to be a goal kick. Last touch off the Palace player. There was a Palace and a Chelsea player involved there. As Sanchez sends it long. There's only one Palace player back here. And Mitchell does well against Neto. Does really well. In a difficult position. It was a 3-on-1. We didn't get that right, Mitchell. He was up a very dark path, shall we say. He wasn't in a good position. And he did well to see it out for the throw on the far left side. 20 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. This London derby that neither side could find a winner in the Premier League last season. Seems like we're edging closer to another possible draw in this fixture this season. As Enzo Fernandez picks up the ball for Chelsea. Caicedo. Chalobah. Caoimhan. Chalobah again. On the left channel again. They're very lethargic looking, Chelsea. They're ponderous at the minute on the ball. They need to be sharper. They need to be quicker. Palace will lap this up all day long. There's a nice ball in behind. Too far for Marco Gray. That was better. It's just a little bit heavy on the pass as Henderson distributes out to his left channel to find Mitchell. He was well challenged there by Estevao, and Reece James under pressure from Eze. James gives it back to his keeper, who that ball was arrowing towards the goal, and Robert Sanchez did get to it. Down the left hand side, nice little ball for Neto to chase. He's got the pace on Lacroix. Munoz there as well to help out, and actually that's going to be a foul given away there by Crystal Palace. I think that's a little soft in my opinion. He lost his balance more than the Palace player fouled him, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's a little bit soft. Smart from Neto, but it's a little soft really. And a substitution coming here for Chelsea. He didn't really have an out-and-out striker last season. Well, they've recruited 2 in the summer, João Pedro and Liam Delap, and they're going to be swapping for each other here. João Pedro leaving the field after a good 72 minutes on it. And Liam Delap to maybe be a little bit of a boost up front to change the game for Chelsea. Liam Delap, who was once at the Manchester City youth setup, and he's now at Chelsea, along with Cole Palmer, who was also in the Man City youth setup at one stage in his past as well. And a free kick here for Chelsea. On this left hand side, it's high up on that left channel. He did really well with Ipswich last season, Liam Delap. I'll tell you about his stats from last season in a moment after this Chelsea free kick. It's Reece James and Neto, I believe, that's over it. It's James to deliver. It's right-footed. It's way at the near post again by Palace. And it's a foot race for the ball now. Caoimhan a little late. That's going to be a free kick, and it's going to be a yellow card for Josh Caoimhan. Or is it Estevao, is it? Couldn't quite see the number. Say it again. It is Estevao, is it? Yeah. It's late. He was never getting to the ball. It's a late challenge. It's a yellow card. Nothing more for Estevao. Still getting to know the new faces. And he gets himself a yellow. Daniel Munoz is the one that was challenged and was fouled, and something flew off one of those two players in the process of that challenge. Something happened anyway. But it's a free kick to Crystal Palace. Around about 15 minutes to go. See, one of those ones, at this point in the game, it's a yellow card you would take. And from the resulting free kick comes really to nothing as Chelsea have it back again, and Reece James wins the throw-off. Is it? Well, as I was saying about Liam Delap and his stats for last season, he did very well at newly promoted Ipswich, scored 12 Premier League goals, 2 assists in his 40 appearances for Ipswich overall of last season in total. So, a very good display, and that's what's got him the big money move to Chelsea for this summer. The 22-year-old, still very young. In terms of big money, it's not the largest, £30.7 million. Ipswich doubling their money in a year. They signed him for £14.8 million a year earlier, and a year later he makes the move to Chelsea for double the money. Is it? Tried to switch ball there. He's overhit it. It's actually swung into the path of Pedro Neto here down the left-hand side for Chelsea. Inside to Cucurella, but he's given it away cheaply. Adam Wharton now picking up the loose pieces. Has he got options? He has. He finds Mateta, who's deeper. Mateta challenged, but held onto the ball well, laid it off well. And Lerma tried to go quick, but the ball comes back to the Palace defenders. Lacroix to Richards. And back to Dean Henderson for Crystal Palace. Still 3-0, by the way, at the City ground. In that one, Nottingham Forest probably have done the work they need to do in that first half, as Mateta has a go on a bouncing ball there in the half volley. And it hit straight at Robert Sanchez, but it was worth a hit. See this again, long ball over the top, it bounces. Chelsea defender all over the back of him in Caoimhan, and he does well, Mateta, manoeuvres the defender away, and then has a strike. We saw him score a great one at Arsenal at the end of last season, and that one was a good attempt, and it was right at the goalkeeper really. The angle was against him, and he had a go at it, Jean-Philippe Mateta, not afraid to have a go at it. We have a goal at the City ground to tell you about, and it has not come the way of the team that have already found the net 3 times. Brentford have their first goal under Keith Andrews, and I'm about to see it here. It's a penalty. Hold on, here's Chelsea in as well, as they defend that well again. Crystal Palace still alive for Chelsea here. Chelsea take precedent. Estevao into the box, cleared away by Richards, and up and away. And now I've missed the penalty from Brentford. Thankfully, thank you very much, Chelsea, for having that attack in that moment in time. As Mateta has the ball, and he's laid it off to Munoz here. It's very open now here at Stamford Bridge, as I'm looking at another game, and a penalty right down the middle. The keeper from Forest dives out of the way of it, and Brentford take the lead. I'm trying to see who it was that won the penalty. It's handball. That's why it was given. And Igor Thiago has scored the goal from the penalty spot to give Brentford back into the game there. Maybe a little bit too late, but you never know. You get 1, you get 2, you might get 3. But it's worth a try from Brentford. So it's 3-1 there. And Chelsea going to eye up some more changes then. They've already made 2 changes at 2 separate occasions, so this will be their final set of changes. tell you those in a second. As Enzo Fernandez and Reece James are the two that are coming off, and Santos and Gusto are coming on. So Andre Santos and Malo Gusto are on for Reece James and Enzo Fernandez for Chelsea. And corner to Palace, throw into Palace, far right side, long throw from the right side, kept alive in the box. It's just about cleared away. Eza flicks it back in, but too close to Robert Sanchez, who sends it flying, but sends it far too far for any of his players to get anywhere near any of his teammates, and it was recovered by Palace. Palace having a decent spell in the last few minutes. The game in the balance as we enter the final 10 minutes here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. 4 shots on target between both teams this afternoon, but only one of those 4 shots on target have come from the home side, Chelsea. 3 of those 4 shots on target have come from Palace, despite Crystal Palace having less shots in the game and much less possession than Chelsea. And after we saw Liverpool and Man City pick up victories by scoring 4 goals in their first games of the new season, it's Chelsea and Arsenal's turn today to respond, and we'll see how Chelsea can figure something out here late against Palace. Or will Palace do what they've done to them on 2 occasions last season and hold them to a draw? As Palace defending there, Neto seen out for a throw. Well, this is the 5th time Chelsea have started a Premier League campaign with a London derby. They've won each of the last 4 against West Ham in 2000, Charlton in 2002, West Ham in 2016, and of course Crystal Palace in 2021. They've also won the last 2 times. Their first league game has been against the previous season's FA Cup winners, beating Portsmouth 4-0 in 2008 and Man United 1-0 in 2004. So some interesting stats there. With 8.5 minutes to go here at the Bridge, Chelsea 0, Palace 0. And Chelsea, as I said earlier on, lost their opening game in last season at home to Manchester City. Well, they haven't lost back-to-back opening games of the season since 1997-98 and 98-99. Both times against Coventry City, as there's a chance from Eza. Good strike, good save by Sanchez, corner. See this again, nice little manoeuvre, and again Palace in the tight spaces, works the ball to Eza, who's unmarked, no one in within 5 yards of him, and as they try and close him down, he gets that shot off on the edge of the box, right-footed, powerful, right at Sanchez, who does make the save, and puts it behind for the corner, of which Eza will take. Only the 2nd corner of the match for Crystal Palace as we enter the final 8 minutes. There's a right-footed, low to the front post, flicked away. It's not cleared, but that one is from Estevao. And it's gone out for a throw to Palace on the right-hand side. Well, there's Steve Parish. He's been all over the world in the last week. Of course, trying to make the claim that Palace should be in the Europa League, but the Court for Arbitration of Sport said no, and that their demotion to the Conference League was a fair decision by UEFA. And Eza is going to be coming off here. Is this the last time that Abere Eza puts on the Palace colours with his links to Tottenham? According to reports, he's already told Crystal Palace hierarchy and his manager that his desire to join Tottenham is that his last involvement for Crystal Palace. And he's going to be replaced by Justin Devaney, the young Northern Irishman, on in his place. And Abere is a star for Palace over the last few years. Long throw into the box, it's flicked on, it's not dealt with by Sanchez, it's cleared away on the rebound by a Chelsea defender in there, and Chalobah, I believe that was. Out to the right side. Palace again trying to work it into the box, but again thumped away by Chelsea. Nicely held up by Delap, but intercepted by Wharton, who couldn't keep the ball in play. Chelsea throw. A little bit more energy about Chelsea there. Chalobah. Neto again trying to go down the right, or down the left, and he was stopped by two Palace players who were right in front of him. And that's going to be a Palace throw, as Chalobah has to rescue it out. Actually, it was given as a Chelsea throw. That was strange. Looked like Chalobah knocked it out there. Esteval down this right side, surrounded by two in the wide area for Palace. He's trying to dribble his way through them. He almost did too. And he's dispossessed as Palace scrambling to keep the ball, and that's going to be a free kick against Andre Santos. Free kick to Crystal Palace. And foul on Jefferson Lerma. Is this one going to fizzle out? Or will one of these two teams find a winner? Luke in the chat says Liam Delap goal in the 89th minute. That's his prediction. Will his prediction become true? And will it be a Crystal Palace winner? At this point, either side could win it, and you wouldn't argue against their performance today. Both sides haven't been the crispest going forward, but you've got to say Chelsea, in my opinion, they just haven't tested Dean Henderson enough, and when you don't do that, you can't really complain if you don't score. One shot on target from 15 shots is really low, but it only takes one of those shots on target to find a way past Dean Henderson to get a winning goal at this late stage. Well, for Crystal Palace, the opening game of the season usually doesn't bode well. Here's Liam Delap, sent wide. He's tried to force it back inside, but he's not kept it in at the byline there. Goal kick. Crystal Palace don't start seasons well. They've lost 3 of their last 4 opening matches in the Premier League seasons, with the exception of that being a 1-0 win at newly promoted Sheffield United in 23-24. But 3 of those last 4 opening games have ended in defeat for Palace. Long kick forward here. Mateta trying to get himself involved again. Didn't win the header that time, and the ball wide from Neto. Liam Delap is the target. He brings it down. Delap and now lays it off to Palmer, who was just about stopped, and Lacroix got a foot in again to defend that for Palace for the corner to Chelsea now. Keeley says, bro, Chelsea need to push for it, mate. Well, they've got a corner here down the left side in the 88th minute. You saw Liverpool score a winning goal in the 88th minute at Anfield on Friday night. Got a late equaliser from Fulham yesterday away at Brighton. The late goals have been a combination so far this weekend. As again, that corner cleared away at the front post by Palace. And up and away once more up the field as back there was Gusto, and he has to get it back to his keeper Sanchez, who again lobs it forward. Chris Richards deals with a header, and a nice turn there away from danger by Adam Wharton. He's giving it away to Cole Palmer now. Bit of pressure here. Andre Santos will have a go, and that's well over the bar. Wasteful. Well, Chelsea won 5 of their final 6 Premier League games last season, losing 1 of those, as many as they had in their previous 16, so they ended 24-25 strong. And after winning winning their first 4 Premier League away games in 2025 this calendar year by an aggregate score of 8-0, Crystal Palace, they won just 1 of their final 6 on the road last season, drawing 3 and losing 2. So they didn't end well on the road, but they certainly started the calendar year with a good result on the road. And could they be keeping another clean sheet on the road and getting a result that would be very befitting of how they've started their campaign. What's your prediction? Based on this at the minute, I think it will end in a draw. But what I predicted before the game is Chelsea to nick it by a goal. I had them winning 2-1, Chelsea. But if they nick it by a goal, I'd still take that as a little bit of a win for me. I think it's... A lot of people think, oh, Chelsea will win this easy. I knew it would be a close battle. I just didn't think that neither side would score. I did think that they would find the net. But so far, so good for both defences. In terms of their attacks and their offences, hasn't been the most glamorous of days. Santos tries the ball over the top. Here's Liam Delap in behind. He's going to have a strike. But he hits it straight at the keeper from the edge of the box. And Dean Henderson makes a firm grab. Yeah, it's a lovely ball over the top by Santos. Not a great header defensively there by Gerhi. And Delap in the mix there has the shot straight at Dean Henderson, which brings that attack to a close. It's Chelsea scrambling for the ball. They've won it here, and they've got it into a good area with Palmer. Can he get it across? He can't. Cucurella battling as well, and Palace again first to everything in that box, and they clear it away for the throw-in. How many additional minutes will we have at the end of the 90 here? We surpassed the 90. How long is there left? Neto on the left side here for Chelsea. Chimpong. Malo Gusto. Esteval. Two Palace players in the vicinity again of Esteval, but he gets past Mitchell, and that ball will just overrun. He's actually got a touch somehow in there, Esteval, and it's going to be a corner, as we will have 6 added minutes then. We've already played one of those, and Esteval wins the corner. We'll take the corner right hand side here. We've racked up the corners today, Chelsea. Esteval takes, left-footed in swinger. It's low to the front post, and I think it went... Did it go straight out there, or did it actually take a deflection? It took a deflection for another corner. Esteval to take another corner then, right side. Gets a bit more height behind this one, but again away at the near post. Kept in play though. Back to Esteval, who gets it back to Gusto. Esteval in a bit of space. Can he find a cross in? He can't. He's not got the opportunity there, and it's cleared away again by Crystal Palace. As far as they can get it away at the minute. Crystal Palace. 4 minutes to the 6 added remaining. Palmer, nice little drag back on the half turn. Cleared away again as he tries to play the ball through the lines. And Malo Gusto recycles. It's one-way traffic in the minutes. Chelsea attacking, Palace getting it away and thumping it up the field as far as they can. Every time Chelsea recover. Delap in behind. That's a nice chance. Oh, he's leaning back again. What an opportunity. See this again. And he knows it. Andre Santos. It's down this left-hand side. It's a good ball over the top. He's onside, Liam Delap. He works it round the corner. He finds it to... I think that... Is that Cucurella? It is. Cucurella just rolls it across the 18-yard box right at the edge. Is Andre Santos in a gorgeous position. A glorious position to find the net. And he skies it. Leaning back, skies it over the bar. That has been the tail of the tape for Chelsea today. Getting into the right areas, but not testing Dean Henderson anywhere near enough, and their inaccuracies might just be the downfall of them this afternoon at Stamford Bridge. But there's still 3 minutes to change that. Esteval does well. Palmer out to the left side it comes. Neto, bodies in the box. Neto tries to find one of them. He finds a header, but there's not enough pace on it there from Santos again. And Dean Henderson can gather. It was a nice idea, it just didn't have the pace on it from Andre Santos. It was good accuracy. The pace on it was lacking. And that's what would have taken it past Dean Henderson, but in the end, Henderson gathers comfortably. Palace down the right side here. Adam Wharton. Can they snatch it here, Palace? Ball through the back. Justin Devaney was the target, and he couldn't keep it in play. Goal kick to Chelsea, 2 minutes to go. Welcome in, Mep. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, along with everybody who's joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. If you haven't done so already, that'd be greatly appreciated. And a reminder for you, that other game, our next game up at Old Trafford. It's about 35 minutes away from kick-off there, so a quick turnaround once again for our Sunday doubleheader. We're at Old Trafford, Man United against Arsenal, 4:30. Can Chelsea snatch a late winner here? Palmer out to the right hand side for Gusto. Bodies arriving into the box. It's all over at the City Ground. It's finished Forest 3, Brentford 1. Opening day win for Forest. Brentford off to a losing start under Keith Andrews, as Chelsea's attack comes to a close and Crystal Palace get a goal kick. You gotta say, Palace have been so stubborn today. They've been immaculate in their own 18-yard box. You gotta say, they have more than stifled Chelsea all afternoon, and with less than a minute to go, Chelsea are in desperate mode, trying to scrappily get any sort of winning goal. They don't care how, they just want to find that back of the net. Cucurella, maybe one more chance on the cards here with 30 seconds to go. Neto, Palmer, forced backed away by Richards. He tries to turn on him. Still in the vicinity there, Richards, making it difficult for Palmer, trying to run the clock out. Palmer down the left-hand channel now. Neto, back to Palmer. One last cross maybe informed here. It's blocked by Richards all the way. It's a corner. This will be the last chance. It's now or never for them, because the 6 minutes are now up. This will be their last opportunity of the game, Chelsea, to try and snatch a winner late. Left-footed delivery, up and away by Palace again, and there is the final whistle. It was the last chance and they couldn't take it, and you gotta say that is as fair a result as you've seen. Palace did find the back of the net in the first half. It was disallowed in the most bizarre of circumstances, you gotta say, but in the end, what a defensive display from Oliver Glasner's men. They held Chelsea. They did have 19 shots, Chelsea, but they only had 3 of those on target in the end. And the last 2 shots on target didn't come till the final few minutes. They stifled Chelsea all afternoon, Palace, and they get a well-deserved draw on the road. It's their 3rd successive draw against Chelsea. And could that be Ebereyez's last performance in Palace colours before a possible move across London? We will see. But Oliver Glasner team are off the mark on opening day. Both come away with a point, and that is probably the least that Palace deserve, and the least as well as Chelsea deserve. They were good on the day, and they just couldn't find the back of the net. And they start for the 2nd successive season at home on the opening day without scoring to Chelsea. But certainly one team at home who did score was in that other 2 o'clock kick-off we can now tell you about that has finished. Nottingham Forest 3, Brentford 1. All 3 of Forest's goals came in the first half, 2 from Chris Wood and the other from Dan and Doy, the new signing. And late Igor Thiago penalty got Brentford a more consolation after 78 minutes to deny Forest a clean sheet. And it did finish Forest 3, Brentford 1. It finished 0-0 at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Crystal Palace. And a well-deserved draw, certainly, for Crystal Palace at the very least. Don't forget, we have another game on the way for you. It's at Old Trafford, Manchester United taking on Arsenal in our 2nd game of our doubleheader, our first Sunday doubleheader of the season. And it's a cracking game that we are all going to be glued to at 4:30. Man United at Arsenal on the way very shortly. Right, that is it from our first game of the day. We'll be back, as I said, for that game at Old Trafford in around about 25 minutes time. We'll be back for that. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you all very shortly.